My name is Adrienne Charleston. I'll be our moderator for today. And we are speaking with Jessica Chaney and Amanda Willoughby from I Am. And before we get to I Am, I do want to say just a little bit about the first film, Smile for Kimmy. And just because it was about suicide, I just want you all to know, if y'all know anybody that are, having those thoughts, or if you are having those thoughts, please reach out to someone. And I do want to say a trend that I have been seeing was exactly what they showed in that film, is that younger people not wanting to reach a certain age, younger people not wanting to go on, younger people not wanting to be adults. So just be mindful of that, and it's getting bigger and bigger. I'm not sure why. Probably need to be some research done on that, but I've seen it a lot in my clients. So just be mindful of that for some reason, some women are deciding that whatever age they decide, like that's it. And that's kind of what happened with Miss North Carolina, if y'all remember, some years back. So just be mindful of that and look out for each other and take care of each other. So let me do a formal introduction. I'm Adrienne Charleston. I'm a psychologist in the North Carolina area. I do therapy with teens and adults. And right here to my left, we have Miss Jessica Chaney, who is the director of I Am. And also Miss Amanda Willoughby, who is the producer and the editor of I Am. And I'm not telling these people to clap. That's how good the movie was. Like, I was sitting here taking notes, and if y'all have questions, let me know. I'm gonna ask a few first, and if anybody has any questions, just raise your hand and I'll make sure I try to get to you. My first question is, how did you all come up with the concept of I Am? What was going on with you all that said, okay, I'm gonna go out and make this movie?
Yes, thank you. I went to my first therapy appointment and just had a complete meltdown. And I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. And then it just kind of went to, Amanda and I and other people in the community talking about mental health, of course, mental health in our community, how it's really not talked about, all these different things. And so we were like, oh, okay, let's see if we can tell this story. So, yeah.
Okay. Did you want to add anything?
Yeah, we work closely together. We work
Okay.
as filmmaking partners. So when she had this idea, it started off as just going to be a short film, but it got to the point where we shot so much and we got so much good stuff. And since I'm the editor, I was like, we gotta pay nobody, so let me do this. I got it.
Oh, okay. And the way you just described that, I get that sometimes. And I tell people before we even start therapy on the first day, the questions are easy, but the answers may not be. And I never know what's gonna be a crying moment. Sometimes it's the first question, sometimes it's the last question, but everybody has their own stuff that they're dealing with, so you never know. So how did you find these 5 women, and how did you get them to agree to do this?
I think, excuse me, there are people that are in our community that we know. Angel's actually Amanda's sister, and as we started talking about our film, there were so many women that were like, oh my God, yes. Can I be a part of this? How can I help? Which is just one of the beauties of independent filmmaking. People want to help you. So if there are any filmmakers out there, it's so hard at times, but there are so many people, especially when you're coming with something that really resonates with a person. They're like, how can I help? So there were people that we would get in touch with, and they would say, oh, you should speak with this person. Oh, you should speak with this person. And so that's how we were able to get the women. And I believe that each one of them were really ready to tell their stories. They were really ready. Each one of them, were at different points of their own work with therapy and their healing. But overall, they were like, yeah, I'm ready for that. And so that's how we were able to get the people, just being able to talk with people in our community and tell them what we were doing. And a number of people just came around it, and we were like, okay, they fit and they clicked, and it feels really good.
Yeah, and I do want to say that I think a lot of people in here, I could hear the crowd when different parts were going on and when different people, like you could see yourself in at least one of the people that was up there. So I want to commend y'all on the way you chose everybody and the way they came across on the screen. So Miss Amanda, because I know y'all probably had a lot of footage. How did you go about the editing? How did you go about the editing of what to leave in and what to take out of it all?
So that's one of the reasons why we could not make this a short film, because there's way too much we could not leave out. And so I was there for each interview. I was there for every step of the way. So during every interview, I'm taking notes. I'm going through everything these women say, how it relates to what other women are saying, and also what speaks to me as well. Honestly, I'm just working on this, help kickstart my own healing journey. And actually, I had my first therapy appointment this morning. So, they were telling my story while they were speaking. Every one of these women I could relate to in so many different ways. And it was also helpful. Dr. DeBerry, she came to us after we finished filming, and she went through all the footage with us. She was giving us a lot of advice on what would be helpful to put in there, what may not be safe to include, how to safely and most appropriately tell these women's stories. There's some things that we just couldn't show just for their own safety and their own well-being, but we definitely took a lot of care into how this impacted us, how it would impact the participants, and how it was going to impact the audience.
And I commend you. As soon as I saw Dr. DeBerry show up on that screen, I was like, oh my goodness. Because a lot of people, I'm gonna try to say this with some tact, y'all, but I don't know how it's gonna come across. A lot of people like to talk about mental health and jump out there and do mental health things, and they don't have a professional to guide them. And so you're out here talking about things and doing things, opening people up, and not giving them the help that might, be needed through all that. So I really enjoyed the fact that y'all had the good doctor there and giving the good information. I don't know if y'all caught all that information that they were given, but it was some good information, and it was good to see it from different sides, from the mind, body, spirit. And that was like one of my favorite parts of it, because as y'all talked about, we are a whole person. So was that your intent, to work on it from the mind, body, spirit?
Oh yeah, definitely from the beginning. We wanted to approach this in the safest way. We want to explore these women's stories, but not exploit their stories. And we want this project to be a piece of healing, offering hope. So that's why that whole ending sequence just makes you feel like, okay, I can keep going, because I got this.
Okay. And I was supposed to start out with this, but I didn't. So you started out with a poem. And I do poetry. I don't know if there's any other poets in here, but there we go. I do poetry around the community, and I recognized and realized that a lot of people who do poetry, dance, arts are dealing with things, and that's how they work out their energy. Is that why y'all put that poem in the beginning, or what was the reasoning behind that?
So the beginning was actually the very last thing we worked on, because we really didn't know how to start it off. That we had so many iterations of this. We actually did a works in progress screening for this at one point. And we were just kind of wrecking our brains around how we wanted to do this. And at the first iteration, I think, had it where it started off where they were breathing. I think, yeah, that was the first one. And then we were like, okay, it needs something else, And so with us, we worked with a beautiful young lady who we've known for several years now. Her name is Janelle Kelly. She's a young filmmaker herself and a poet and writer. And we thought about it because we were like, okay, if we started it off with the breathing, but so the beginning is basically somebody who's having an anxiety attack, right? And so it's that hurry, that all of these feelings, and then it's like, okay, but the I am is to ground yourself, center yourself, bring yourself back, right? And then it's like, okay, breathe. I'm interested to know how many of you guys breathe with it. Okay, so yeah, so it was like, okay, Breathe, and that's really from mine, because when I'm at the height of my anxiety, I will not breathe.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a very important part of it when we were working with the participants and everything. We were like, okay, we're gonna start this off with just, okay, let's move, let's just ease into this, because the first question is, what's your earliest memories around anxiety? And then really digging into that work, right? And so it was like, all right, before we do any of this, let us make sure, once again, with that care, that we intentionally and set an environment that is beautiful, that is comfortable. Every place that the participants are in are places that either they said they felt most comfortable in, or places that they felt most empowered in. That's why you see Angel in her salon, and so being able to ensure that that's happening. So in the final one is where we decided, what if we took somebody through that emotion first, and then being able to say, okay, let's go. Here it is. Breathe that thing on out. Let's go. And so that's where it is. But that was the last thing we worked on was the beginning, because we were just back and forth with it.
You did it. I mean, that was like eye-catching, and the movements, even with the person in the beginning, like it goes through what someone may feel when they're having a, anxiety issue, panic attack. PTSD is also a form of anxiety, and I really felt that in the beginning when you started. I was like, oh, this is about to be something. Y'all really got into it, and I'm glad you did, because it's great, it is informational, and it's relatable. And I don't know how many people have told y'all that, but this was amazing. Do we have any questions in the audience before I keep praying? Oh.
How can we share that if we want to share your film with others?
Okay, so the question was, how can we share that if we, wanted to share the film with others?
Well, we're still going through our film festival circuit right now, so it's currently privately online, but connect with us after.
Okay.
Look, Amanda got y'all. Go ahead.
And that's why I just say thank you to this festival, because this is the first one outside of our premiere, which was with Indie Memphis last year in October. This is the first festival that we've done, so we're super excited to be here, and just love this area, love this community. So thank you.
And yes, they came all the way from Memphis, Tennessee, and y'all know North Carolina and Tennessee are both long states, so just imagine. Memphis is all the way at the other end of Tennessee. That's a long way to get through into the mountains and all that stuff. So you had a question?
No, I have.
Oh, go ahead.
Can you speak a little bit about your care practice?
Can you speak a little bit about your care practices during production, during the interviews, especially Alicia was so emotionally raw, so how did you guys coach each of them through those moments?
Okay, I'll start. Okay, so when we started this, actually Alicia also, she's one of my best friends. We've known each other since we were like 14. When we started this, we did preliminary interviews via just online. We wanted them to not come into these interviews with any surprises, so they knew all the questions beforehand. And we also spoke with Dr. DeBerry beforehand to get her advice on how we should approach these things. And also with their interview locations, each woman was able to choose exactly where they wanted to be interviewed. We want to ask them where they felt most comfortable, what colors make them feel most comfortable, what music makes you feel most comfortable. Our preliminary interview was all about understanding their comfort levels and what they were fine with and what their boundaries were. And like Jessica was always like, we do not want to re-traumatize or reignite anyone's anxiety while doing this, because we want to honor these women and their stories. Want to speak more to that?
Yeah, and we did the preliminary interviews, and then day of, our crew was intentionally small.
Like 4 of us.
Yeah, it was 4. So there weren't a dozen people on set looking at this person as Chloe is talking about her suicide attempt. There were only 4 people. And most of those people they knew as well. So it just wasn't complete strangers on set. And the sets were pretty intimate. as well and closed off. And then we just took our time. We took our time setting up. We took our time doing the interviews. We even took our time breaking down. As Amanda and the crew were setting up, I was taking the participants to the side and just talking with them more, not even about the film, but just general stuff, you know. So I felt like that made them very comfortable. If there was a subject that they did not want to talk about, we did not push it. If there was something at multiple times, especially with Alicia, we would say we could stop. You know, we could stop. Do you need a moment? That's why she was like, "Can I keep going? Because I want to get it out." Because we were like, "Well, we could stop," and you know, it was like, "No, I'm in it now. I want to get it out." And so those were some of the things that we were able to do. And then we even asked them after we even said with Dr. DeBerry that if they were comfortable, that we would offer them like a session with her or something. So that way, you know, if they wanted it and if they didn't have a person that they were already working with, so that was a big part of it. So yes.
Okay.
Thank you for that question.
Yes, ma'am.
Building on that question, what were your care practices for yourself? Before, during, after, especially because you lived with it for so long. So how are you, if you were able to not have it lodge into your psyche and burden you?
That's probably why I just started therapy now. I was not taking care of myself. While working on this film, we both worked full-time jobs, part-time jobs. This was our side thing that we were just doing. Honestly, I think it helped me just listening to other people's stories. It helped me to realize, okay, these are things I can talk about myself. And I think it just helped me hearing other people say what they were feeling out loud. That helped me to understand more about what they were going through, what I'm going through myself. But honestly, I did not do much self-care. And this working on this project actually helped kickstart my healing journey into knowing where I should be looking at within to help myself.
So before I started going to therapy, journaling, a lot of breath work, blessed off and on exercising. We'll keep working at that one, but you know. During was there were several points in this film that were very affirming. One of them is with Angela. So we had a grant, and we were working with a production company to clear our permits and everything. And we were supposed to film on the river, on the Mississippi at a park. And that permit didn't come through. So they said, oh, well, we got to end at the Botanic Gardens, which is a private entity in Memphis. So they just walked up, the production company, and they were like, can we film here? And they were like, yeah, that's fine if you can find a place, because there was a wedding there. So we were lugging equipment all through the gardens, trying to find a place. We found a place, we get it set, and we're like, okay, let's do this, right? Angela was amazing. She was just off to the side, just relaxed and comfortable. And we're doing an interview, and Angela starts talking about God and how God is all around her. And I'll say the wind was very still, which is great for our audio. It was very still, but when she started talking about that,
I was in the trees.
the God was in the tree.
Yeah.
It just started whipping around. Like if you look closely at it, you could see the ripples on the lake from it. And it was like as she's talking like this, I'm behind the camera like, oh, okay, you know. And so there were times where it felt like, all right, I would say this was the smoothest production we've done. Everything went well, but it even at a minute, because we were like, oh, we outside, it might rain. Now we got a wedding, we can't get a golf cart, we got to cart all this stuff and everything. Anytime it felt like there was something that could go wrong, there was something that just came in that was like, no, I'm gonna shut you up right now and let you know this is what's supposed to be happening. And that was very healing as well, you know. And once again, I don't know how many we for real deal independent filmmakers. Like we do a lot but for ourselves. We're very heavily in our community, working with a lot of people. But this really made me understand that people want to help you. So there were spaces that we needed that would have normally cost or we couldn't get into, that people were like, yeah, okay, yeah, I like, that sounds cool, yeah, go ahead, you know.
Yeah, our composer too.
Our composer is like, has worked with a number of big name people. He currently teaches at one of the colleges.
Yeah,
everything.
we talked to him about this project, and we actually met him. He we were actually helping to direct a play, and he was working on that play, and we told him about the project, and it just so happened that Jacqueline Oseling, that's in the documentary, he made an album with her,
Yeah.
and he said, y'all can have it.
Yeah.
It was all an instrumental album for her to use for her sessions, and she was like, "Yeah, I'll just use it with no charge. I just want to help you guys out." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay, ask and you shall receive."
Yeah. So those are just during how those things were very affirming and helped with my healing. And afterwards, just continued therapy and this right here, just the fact that we say there's gonna be someone in this room that's gonna start their healing journey. There's gonna be someone in this room that's gonna be more informed, and they're gonna go back to their family and have more conversations and more opportunities for us to just really lift each other up. That's what this is and what feels good with that. So thank you for that question.
And I do want to say I love the different themes that were weaved throughout. You know, as Black women, there are a lot of things that come with being a woman, and there's a lot of things that come with being a Black woman. So you had the racism, you had the medical system, even the military. I'm a retired Army, so that one really hit. Like I knew everything she was talking about kind of hit. That's why I said when you chose these people, you found somebody. And they fit somebody. Something about them fit the parent, the person who's, not been able to have children, different things. I love how you hit on a little bit of everything and how showing that you never know who you're looking at or what they're dealing with. And that's what hit home the most for me, because you saw it right there. Like you probably see the same people out dancing, doing their thing, doing whatever, and never understand or know that they have something going on with them. So, we check the time. We have 7 minutes left. So, do we have another question before I go? Okay, I thought I saw you over here.
Good evening now. Yes, it's almost 6 o'clock. Good evening. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I enjoyed it. The intergenerationality, that thread that you all wove, but I especially appreciate Dr. DeBerry. It was ingenious to include her and her expertise, and I'm curious to know if there is one thing or something that you learned from her, that maybe you didn't know, or maybe something she reiterated that you can share with us from her background, from her expertise, through the process of making this film. It was a joy to see her pop up on the screen and validate your intention, to validate their experiences, to validate you all in your healing journey as well, and to have her come through for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh, our whole crew loved Dr. DeBerry. And after we finished our interview, literally, our camera operator, sound guy, was like, "I got a question." So, what do you think about? And one of the things I put it in the doc which is why I love being the editor, because there were so many things I was like, "You gotta put this in there." But one of the things that hit me hard was when she said, "Everything that's happened to you, you can't always blame that other person. Sometimes your boundaries are too low." And I was like, "Damn, wow."
Yeah.
That hit me hard. I can't, that affirmed I really need to tell a lot of people no a lot more often.
Yes.
I had to take care of myself now, and that's something I'm living with, and I'm building on that daily.
Yeah, I'll just say too that one of the things that we wanted to do was we wanted to ensure that we weren't giving misinformation with this as well. So that's definitely why we wanted to bring on a licensed counselor, a social worker, therapy, a healthcare practitioner, because we didn't want to be one of the, unfortunately, one of the many,
Say it.
things that are out there that are unfortunately given misinformation and everything. So that's why we included Dr. DeBerry. But yes, I think she's the one that said, I did what I was supposed to do today.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one that I hold on to pretty closely, because it's so much sometimes that you have to do in a day.
Mm-hmm.
And then you feel so bad and you ruminate over it and everything when you don't get to it. So I often say, I did what I was supposed to do today. So, yeah.
And the one line, it wasn't Dr. DeBerry that said it, but that it sticks to me, and I quote it so often, is when Angela said, I don't want to spend my entire life seeking to heal. I want to enjoy my life, and I want to thrive, and that is what this is about.
And I did write some takeaways from each person. So like when Chloe said it makes sense if all of us were anxious, I was like, yes, as Black women, man, listen. And then Angel, when she was talking about being let down by the system, but she was still pushing forward because as Black women, that's what we always do. And as she said, she makes it look easy. Like I was like, yup. And when Grae was talking about her empty nest syndrome, like how it was bothering her and just her children growing up and being in this world as Black children. And then Angela saying yes and saying no. You have to know when to say yes and when to say no. And I might be biased because Alicia was the military one, but when she said, and because I dance too, but when she said I dance so I don't have to use a lot of words, that right there was, that hit home. And so before we end, can both of y'all just tell everyone how they can reach you on social media platforms, how they can get in contact with you, and y'all will be available after as well if they want to ask questions too. But go ahead and let us know.
Oh, so we are, was you have a question?
I just want to,
Oh,
real quick before you wrapped up, I think you didn't see me, but
no, I did. Sorry.
I just had to say, it's a comment, it's not even a question. This film is so important, and it means so much as a Black woman who deals with, and I feel safe to say this in this space because of that film, who deals with, what's it called? What kind of depression do I have? Treatment resistant depression. And generalized anxiety disorder and obsessive compulsive disorder. All of those are diagnoses, and PTSD. I felt so beautifully and wonderfully seen and understood through this film, and I actually had a panic attack, which is why I had to get up and leave and missed the first part, and I went to medicate by hitting my vape pen because cannabis and psychedelics helped me manage this. And so I just want to say thank you. And I felt like there are, as a Black plus size woman, there are very few with mental health issues. There are very few films where I just feel completely seen, and this is one of them. So thank you.
Absolutely.
So we are Not Your Ordinary Films. You can find us on Instagram at Not Your Ordinary Films, and we're also notyourordinaryfilms@gmail.com. If you want to email us, and we're also on TikTok. Find us there. And if you want to get some more personal contact info right after this, we'll be happy to give it to you.
And again, I've been your moderator for this evening, Adrienne Charleston. You can find me on IG at AC Butterfly Flow, or you can Google Butterfly Flow. I am a therapist in the North Carolina area. It's hard to find people like us as therapists, so I'm one, and if I can't help you, I know others. So, so thank y'all so much for coming out, and thank you for this wonderful film.